The pixel people pod. Snap, 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 it's on. Rewind the future fraud. The pixel people pod.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's us again, Chris.
What up?
Say hello, Jen.
Hello, Jan.
Welcome back to another episode. This week's episode is what I'm calling our first sequel episode. We've had a two-parter, but we've never really had a sequel. Thinking the other day about what would you bring back from the 80s episode. The other day I'm watching footage from Live Aid, which is the 41st anniversary this year, and I watched Dire Straits come out, and there was something about their performance made me go, they should have took this away and never brought this back, a certain thing. And then I thought, what else should not be brought back from the 70s and 80s? So that's what our sequel episode is. What wouldn't you bring back? Before we do that, we have Jan's Gnarly News.
Here we go. Jan's Gnarly News. Jan's Gnarly News.
Hit us with that news, Jan.
All right, your July 13th, 1980 something, Jan's Gnarly News. July 13th, 1981, Duran Duran released Girls on Film. Their
Duran
third.
Sorry.
Please don't say it like that.
Okay, all right.
That was their third single from their first studio album, Duran Duran.
It's got great bass line in it. It's
I
a good song.
love that song.
It's not my favorite song
You
by
know-
them, but it's good.
You know, a funny story I heard about Duran Duran, about what's his name, Simon Le Bon, or how do you
Simon
say his
Le
name?
Bon.
Simon Le Bon, yeah.
Yep. When Wham had their Wembley Stadium final concert ever, that was their big farewell show.
Yeah.
Simon Le Bon came and wanted to get on stage and sing with them, and George is like, I don't even know this guy. We don't know each other that well, but he wants to come on stage. And he's like, F off, kind of thing like that. But he ended up getting on stage, but he was just like, he wanted to just be part of that because I guess he thought he was, you know, it's the 80s, they're British, that kind of thing. So,
At
or
that
wherever
point,
they're
though,
from. But
Duran was
Duran Duran.
Duran.
They were bigger than Wham though.
this was Wham's solo. And George is like, this is our last concert
Yeah,
ever. I don't
okay.
want anybody else up here with
Yeah, I
us.
get
Guy.
it.
That was their
I get
their
it.
farewell thing.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, there's all kinds of. I think that's why Axl Rose and like Kurt Cobain hated each other because I think they were backstage somewhere and Axl smarted off to him or something. And it's always stuff like that. You find out somebody says something or does something at a concert to peeve off the other
What?
one.
Axl Rose smarted off to somebody?
Yeah. Or I think maybe now I think about it, I think Kurt's the one that smarted off to him, like said something swarmy or something to him because Kurt was
Mhm.
like that. So we'll
He's
have to
probably
bring that
high.
up when we do our 90s episode. All right.
All right. July 13th, 1982, 59,000 fans piled into Olympic Stadium for the first MLB All-Star game played outside the U.S.
Is that in Toronto? Yeah.
Yep, 5 Montreal Expos were part of the classic for the National League.
So it was in Montreal.
Mhm.
Well, I knew it had to be either somewhere up there.
Yeah, it
Good
had to
old-
be
the-
either Toronto or Montreal,
The good old Expos. They should,
which are now the Washington Nationals.
yeah, they should still be around though. The Expos.
if you're wondering, the National League defeated the American League 4-1.
I used to love watching the baseball All-Star game, home run derby, and all that
The
stuff.
home
and
run derby was so fun.
it's like the dunk competition now. It's kind of over with. I just don't get that excited about it anymore. Do you, Chris? You're a big, you're
no,
a big
no,
baseball nut.
I love baseball, but me and my son were talking about it, and they're having the home run derby tonight. It's on Monday night, so it's kind of something to watch.
Yeah.
But we were both like, we don't watch any of the All-Star games any longer. None of the All-Star games intrigue me or him at all. So I don't watch the
Eh.
Pro Bowl, which was a joke. I don't watch the NBA. I don't watch
To
Major
be
League.
fair, though, at
none of
least
that.
the changes, the Major League Baseball one, at least they try a little bit more in it than the other ones. But
Well, the stuff they did, like the pitch clock and things
Yeah,
like that, have been
yeah.
great for the game and stuff. But the All-Star games are just so out of whack. I think
Yeah.
it's just boring to me, so I don't even watch them anymore.
you're a big Cubs fan, so yes.
Oh God, yes, I'm such a Cubs.
Now, tell
fan.
everybody who you pull for.
I pull for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, you're the biggest Cardinals fan I've ever met.
Well, I
Don't call
appreciate
him
it.
big.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I resemble that remark.
All right.
Released July 13th, 1984, The Last Starfighter.
I've never seen that
I
movie.
want to see this movie.
Me either.
It sounds like something we would really, really like.
Well, we'll watch it this weekend and put it on the list.
A teenager who, after winning the high score in an arcade game that's secretly a simulation test, is recruited by an alien defense force to fight in an interstellar war. Just sounds like something great.
So I have a whiteboard behind me right here for podcast suggestions and stuff we scribble on. I just tried to write The Last Starfighter on this and in pen, as you hear, another opening, and it was dry. Just 'cause I don't think I put the.
But I didn't realize until I was researching this that this movie, The Last Starfighter, along with Tron in 1982, have the distinction of being one of the cinema's earliest films to use extensive real-life computer-generated imagery, CGI.
Well, you know what? We're going to be talking about a topic here tonight, and this will come up on the topic for
Okay.
me
All
Okay.
tonight.
right. I'll
Cool.
look forward to that.
Synergy. This podcast is all about it.
Synergy.
All right. I have heard you
Synergy,
use that word
synergy.
twice this week,
Yeah.
and that's plenty.
Okay,
You're
alright.
at your quota.
Okay.
No, synergy is a good word.
Yeah.
I like synergy.
All right. You're at your quota now.
Well, in college, our professor, our main instructor, she owned an advertising agency called Synergy, I think Synergy Designs or something, out of Hickory area, and she was phenomenal at her craft and all that. It was just that's the only reason I really even liked the word synergy. She was such a good influence.
All right, cool.
Nice.
All right.
All right. And Greg talked about this a little bit earlier.
I did?
July 13th, 1985, Live Aid,
Oh, yeah.
spearheaded by Bob Geldof.
Before you get any further into it, can I say that was what this episode was going to be about
Yep.
before I changed and pivoted? So
Yeah, and I had to cancel our Bob Geldof live interview because
sorry,
you
Bob.
pivoted.
Sorry, Bob.
so-
it was funny because I had this great idea to do it's 44th anniversary of Live Aid, and I thought that'd be cool. And then Jan and Chris were both like, I don't really know a whole lot about Live Aid. I said, you don't have to know about it. I'm going to send you 5 videos to watch, and then that's all I'm going to be talking about. And then later on, I thought, Live Aid, it's 41 years ago. I'm probably the only one that cares, so we changed it. So now
well, I'm
you're
still waiting on my videos.
okay. Well, Jan's little synopsis here is probably more than we needed. This is perfect for what
Okay.
we can talk about.
We'll hit it. Let's go.
It was held in London's Wembley Stadium, where
And-
72,000 people attended, and Philadelphia's JFK Stadium, where 100,000 attended.
yes.
It included Sting, U2, Dire Straits, Queen, David Bowie, The Who, Elton John, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Bryan Adams.
A reunited Black Sabbath at Ozzy for one show only for charity. And then he went back to a solo thing. That's something I didn't really know about until I saw footage of it this year. I knew about everything else, but I did not realize that Black Sabbath got back with Ozzy. And I watched it, and it's so weird to see them back with him for one show, and then it's like, all right, we're going our separate ways again.
Yep.
That would be like, during the Sammy Hagar Van Halen years, they'd be like, let's bring Dave back for one 30-minute show, and they're like, all right, he's gone. It's so weird to see.
I would actually pay to see that.
I would too. Yeah.
I
So
wouldn't for
people
his
did.
singing voice.
What, just for his dancing? That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Just to see him kick
Oh,
his
you
leg
like
up.
the way
Have
he
you
does-
got more stuff on Live Aid?
No, because I knew your mind has a bunch.
Do y'all? Do either of you know the one person that performed at both the London and the Philly?
I know because you told me.
Corey Feldman.
I wish. There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot more money for
Great.
charity. Do you know who it is, Chris?
He performed at both.
Yes, there was a guy
How did
that
he do that?
I'll tell you how he
We
performed.
have
Okay.
done a podcast on this
Yes, he performed in London, jumped on the Concorde, which is something that don't exist anymore. Supersonic jet flew to Philly, and then
Rod
drummed.
Stewart.
No, it's Jan. Tell who it is.
guy. Phil Collins.
Yep. He did his set, flew on the Concorde over here, and then drummed for Led Zeppelin's reunion. And yeah, he did them both. That was one thing we was going to talk about, how Led Zeppelin, i.e. Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, for years blamed Phil Collins because they said our performance was subpar because he jumped in. They already had Tony Thompson from Chic on drums, but Collins at the gimmick thing, said, all right, Zeppelin will have 2 drummers. And they were like, his timing was off, and he threw us off, and he messed us up. But when you watch it, no, Phil Collins played just fine. Page was like just still in the throes of heroin addiction. Plant had a cold and couldn't sing that great. When Page yanked his double neck guitar out to play it, he knocked out a tune, so it sounded off. But it wasn't that bad. Over the years, it's become this is the worst reunion ever, but it wasn't that bad. But, that was one of the things that happened at Live Aid that's very cool, was Zeppelin got back. But I think it was so bad, they were going to maybe get back together right after that. Then they was like, nah.
We good.
Yeah, but that's how big, again, Phil Collins just now got in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, that's how big he was. The guy performed in London, flew and drummed for Led Zeppelin, and, he's still not worthy of a solo Hall of Fame till now.
Sad.
Crazy. So
Until we got him in.
exactly. We got him in, folks.
It was us.
All right. Another Duran Duran gnarly news item. July 13th, 1985, Duran Duran reached number 1 on the U.S. singles charts with the James Bond theme, A View to a Kill. Another great Duran Duran song.
Well, let's just flip this into synergy. They played Live Aid and did that song, and that was something I was going to bring up on the podcast. Simon Le Bon, when he was singing that song, hit a wrong note, a sour note in that song. His voice cracked, and people have brought that up for 40 years after that, laughing about it. If you go to YouTube and type in Simon Le Bon Live Aid, it'll pull up bad note, Simon Le Bon, bad song. Because he's singing, it's just like, it's bad. It's funny, but it's like that note stuck with him. It's probably like he could hear it in his head, the telltale note, because people mocked him for that. But yeah, that was song. Oh, that's my favorite Duran Duran song of all time, is that song.
Well,
I don't care if it's for a soundtrack.
That's one reason I like going to concerts so much. Not because people hit bad notes, but because they could hit a bad note.
Yeah,
it's not, I mean, like, there's certain people out there who are singing like who should be singing still, like Axl Rose and Vince Neil and people and David Lee Roth, who every note they sing's a bad note. I mean, it's just terrible. But like the guys who can still sing, that get out there and they hit one bad note, or the guy hits one off note on the guitar or whatever, it's because they're playing live. And it's such a vibe that you understand, hey, even these people make mistakes. They're not perfect. You look at them a certain way, and it's just, you get to enjoy the live experience of it all.
There's a clip
to me, a bad note's not such a bad thing.
There's a clip that was making the rounds this week on Instagram, and I saw it on Facebook too. It was from probably 5 years ago when the Stones were touring one of their tours in the 2020s. And Keith always does 2 songs as a solo set with the band, because he sings, at least one song on every Stones album. And 90% of the time, one of the songs is his big solo song, Happy. And it showed Keith getting up there, and he starts playing it, and he totally forgotten the chords. The song that he wrote in the 70s, he's played on 90% of the shows they've ever done. And you see him like stand there for a minute, and the band starts kicking in, and he's trying to play and he just starts laughing. And he walks up to the microphone and goes, I forgot the chords. And then you see him like look at everybody in the band. He stands there for a minute. He goes, and then he hits it, and they kick in and they go on. That's the coolest thing ever. Because
I'm surprised stuff like that doesn't happen more often.
Yeah.
Well, when you're 107, it's going to happen.
Yeah. But he left it off and then fixed it, and they kicked back in the song again. 90% of the bands that are younger than them are doing that to a click track and can't stop and start over again because something is pre-recorded. It's sad. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a different level.
Yep.
All right, July 13th, 1986, American explorer Robert Ballard, using his submersible Alvin and
the Chipmunks?
No, and the robot Jason Jr., made the first dive to thoroughly examine the exterior and interior of the Titanic wreck.
The Titanic's always going to be like just something cool that people's going to talk about.
They were able to recover various room debris and belongings of the victims.
Did they get that necklace that old broad threw in the water?
I don't know. The thing that was missing was the grand staircase. It was gone.
Huh. Well, interesting. I'm just trying to think. I was trying to think of a joke, but
July 13th.
Wait a minute. Hang on. Now I think about what did the water just carry the stairwell away?
Nobody knows what happened to it.
Yeah.
It was just gone.
Was Jack just floating on it? Is that how he drowned? I mean,
I bet Jack took the staircase to heaven.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he did.
Yep.
It was a stairway for sure.
Yep. July 13th, 1987, Madonna performed a special AIDS benefit concert
Yep.
in Madison Square Garden in memory of her friend Martin Burgoyne.
She also played Live Aid. There you go. There's another one. Everything ties in.
She raised $400,000.
That's all?
Well, in 1987, that was
Oh,
a
it's just a
lot.
concert. Okay. It's not like a pay-per-view or something. So, 'cause
Well, it's
now-
another podcast, another Madonna mention.
Yep.
It's the 80s, baby.
Yep. We've got icons on her coming up this year.
All right, so y'all just sit back and listen to this next story.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I'm sure. There we go.
Because it was too good of a story just to make it one or two sentences. So you just have to hear the whole story.
Okay, well, hang
It's
on.
Really
Here,
unbelievable.
Listen.
Put some cool music there. Let's
That
go.
won't do it. Listen. Never mind. My chair squeaks when I don't want it to, and I was going to lean back so people can hear it squeak as I lean back to listen, and it's not squeaking, so never mind. Okay, go ahead.
You interrupted my great story for that.
Yeah,
A chair
it's
squeak.
going to be funny to hear my chair squeak, but it's not doing it now, so go
All
right
right.
ahead.
July 13th, 1988, 20-year-old Terry Wallace from Arkansas had a really bad car accident. He was a construction worker. It left him with a catastrophic brain injury.
Yes.
He didn't wake up from it. So the doctors, all tried to talk his mom into
Yeah.
turning off life support and all that. But his mother, Angelique, said, no, I'm not going to do it. I believe in my son. I believe, he's going to come out of this. So the medical records classified Terry as minimally conscious. He was trapped between a coma and awareness. Not fully asleep, not fully gone. He was just suspended in his unconsciousness, I should say. So 6 weeks after the accident, his girlfriend gave birth to his daughter, Amber. And so all Amber remembered of her father, because they took her to see him and visit him and let her, once she started talking, she would talk to him, but he was totally unresponsive. So she knew her dad, but all she knew of him was that, he was comatose. So every day for 19 years, his mother visited and spoke to him and played his favorite music. And occasionally his eyes would flicker or like a leg would jerk or something. But that was just his body making reflexive movements. And it didn't mean anything because his brain scans still showed up that nothing was there. So during this time, the Berlin Wall fell, the Soviet Union collapsed, internet and cell phones arrived, 9/11 happened, Amber turned 5, then 10, then 15, then 19. And then on July 11th, 2003, his mom was visiting in his care facility. And when she was leaving, she heard a voice say, "Mom." And so she, froze and was like, where did that come from? And turned around and realized it was him and rushed to his bedside where he's, for the first time in 19 years, actually making eye contact with her. And he looked at her and he said, Pepsi. He wanted a Pepsi.
Right, give me a Pepsi free. You want a Pepsi, pal? You're going to pay for it.
And, doctors and neurologists were stunned. This had never happened before. It was unprecedented. His family told him that it was 2003, but he insisted it was still 1984. And they had to, and he even told them Reagan's president. It's 1984. And they had to show him proof with newspapers and photographs and stuff like that it was in fact 2003. So he finally got to meet his daughter and actually see her and hear her. And he's like, but you were just born. You should be a baby. So for 19 years, the doctors assumed that nothing was happening with his brain. But his brain was actually rebuilding itself. And so 34 years after, he lived until 2022, 34 years after the accident and 19 years after waking up. So he got to meet his daughter, his daughter's husband, and grandkids.
You know what the wildest thing about that is?
What?
He woke up in 2003 and never realized that Roth, the Left Van Halen Sammy had been in, was out. And then when Sammy comes back in 2004, he's like, that's a pretty good choice, I guess, to replace Ross with Sammy Hagar. It's like, he's already been in once. So.
I would love to hear his views on the music and what had happened in that time.
So what did he die from?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
We'll have to look that up for next week. We'll bring it up. 'Cause
I
had
it, but I tried to condense this.
Yeah, I would like to know what what got him in the end and how he was.
He had to stay in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
He couldn't walk. He never gained that ability back, but he could speak. Sometimes his speech was a little slow, but he was able to form sentences and speak to people. Because it says that he actually told them stories about what he remembered before his wreck, what the world was like and stuff like that.
They told him, we don't have a Pepsi, but we got a Coke. And he's like, what is this Coca-Cola Classic garbage? And all that
He
stuff.
wanted a clear Coke.
Yeah.
He didn't know that. Yeah, so, you want a clear Pepsi? What?
Clear Pepsi, yeah,
That's-
sorry.
Moon pie. What a time to be alive.
I was honestly listening to that story
Yeah.
and waiting for the punchline.
Yeah. I knew this story, but I remember reading about this guy, but I didn't realize this was the same guy. I read about a guy that, but I think the thing I'd heard about was a guy like that woke up, but then like passed away a couple months after that. So yeah, that's wild. That's why you never know. I mean,
Yeah, I get it. There's documentation to it and stuff.
yeah,
but
this really happened. I know.
there's not. I mean, I just find it. I think it's. I have a hard time comprehending that as a reality. Seriously.
Well, it's documented.
Yes.
Well,
It happened.
I mean, there
he's
are
on
urban
48
legends and
hours,
stuff, so
dude. So, why are you such a skeptic, Chris? So,
I just am. I'm sorry.
well,
All right. We'll
you're
move on.
the old curmudgeon on the pod right there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's right. Get off my lawn.
July 13th, 1989, the single Blame It on the Rain by Milli Vanilli reached number
so
1.
good.
I still love that song. I
I love that entire album. I celebrate their entire catalog. They are I don't care who sang. It was a good album.
It was a very
I had
good
the
album.
remix album too. It was just as good. Milli Vanilli were on point back then. So
Yep, they were something for 2 years.
and now Vanilli isn't he still out there now? Vanilli.
One of them still alive.
Is he-
Yes, Vanilli. Yeah, he's playing. I think this week somewhere. I saw, and he can
And he's
sing
probably-
halfway decent.
Yeah,
Probably-
he's actually a decent singer.
Yeah,
Corey Feldman's opening for him, I think.
yeah.
I would go see that.
Yeah,
I would see that
okay.
tour.
we've talked about it before, but go to Paramount and Paramount Plus and find the Milli Vanilli documentary. It's pretty wild to see. Those guys got hosed.
They did.
Yeah.
They were the scapegoat for all of it.
Yeah, they were put in the machine until the machine spit them out.
Right.
So
All right. Sad Jan's gnarly news from last week. Bonnie Tyler passed away at the age of 75. Of course, we know her from the songs Total Eclipse of the Heart, which topped the charts and sold more than 6 million copies worldwide, and Holding Out for a Hero and It's a Heartache. All 3 of those
Yep.
songs were great. She got 3 Grammy nominations and 3 Brits nominations. Best British Female Solo Artist.
if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have had the Dan Band covering Total Eclipse of the Heart, which is the greatest cover song ever done.
She was actually set to perform at the Sunshine Festival this
Yeah, this
summer.
was unexpected.
Mhm. She had some European shows set up as well.
Was she at Live Aid?
She might have been. So
Never
we'll look
know.
it up for next week.
And there you have Jan's gnarly news.
Oh, gnarly!
All right, Jan, thank you for that. So that brings us this week's topic. What wouldn't you bring back? Which we have 2 listener submissions. Todd Spiegel, our number 1 fan, and Rodney Morris, who's both have been on this podcast before. I asked them to give us their thoughts, and they're very interesting because they share a thought with, I think, everybody on this podcast when it comes down to it. It
I
might
still
be
think
the
those 2 should arm wrestle to see who is actually the number 1 fan.
Yeah, we're gonna do the MMA fight on the White House lawn one from Todd and Rodney. So
Nice. Get some Roman candles and some stuff.
yeah,
Have some
so
fireworks.
so that brings us to the topic, and as I said earlier, it's on things you wouldn't bring back, and we even had some listener submissions. Todd Spiegel and Rodney Morris, 2 of the biggest fans of this podcast. I had them send me an audio clip of what they wouldn't bring back. I'm going to play those here toward the end. But let's start off with Jan. Tell us one of the things you would
One of
not
them?
bring back from
All
the
right.
80s.
These are not in order.
Okay.
So the first thing that popped in my head,
Yeah.
shoulder pads.
That was, I looked up some stuff too on lists, and that was a big thing that everybody says they're glad they're gone, shoulder pad. And I got to thinking about it because it didn't affect me really either way, but I was looking at it and yeah, it looked stupid on women back
Yeah.
then.
The only
you don't mean
person
the football.
No,
No.
women had the shoulder pads. You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about.
the only person that I can think of that they really rocked them and they looked really good in them, Madonna and Julia Roberts looked really good with those on.
I don't know. I have to see a pic, but
I'm sure any of those sex symbol ladies we picked from the 80s probably look good
Yeah.
in them.
when you think about it, though, that was a big thing. Women with that boxy shoulder pad thing. I don't know why that became a thing, but
You know what I think of when I think of that whole look?
Subaru cars.
No, this is the same line though. Marcy from Married with Children, the neighbor.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I think of when you say shoulder pads.
Yeah. Chicken,
And Subarus.
chicken, Marcy. Oh,
All
such a
right,
good
I'm
show.
going to quiz you guys.
Okay.
It's 1986.
Yeah.
I'm putting on a shirt from my closet.
Yeah.
Do you think I had any with shoulder pads?
No,
Chris?
I say you did.
I say you didn't because you were taller than most girls, and you probably didn't do that. So what?
I had one shirt that had shoulder pads.
Really?
Yep.
What was it?
Boom.
I eventually, though, after I wore it to school a couple times, I'm like, yeah, I don't like this. I eventually cut them out.
Yeah. You're the one who won't even wear normal collared shirts because you think they're choking you to death. She has to wear like V-cut because every T-shirt that's not like cut down low, she feels like somebody's strangling her.
I also never follow clothing rules.
Yeah.
So
All right, Chris, give us one of yours.
All right. This will not be a surprise to either one of you. This is a twofer. You should get the two for the price of one.
if you say Motley Crue, I'm going to jump through
Motley
this phone
Crue
and smack
Bruce
you.
Springsteen.
Yeah.
Motley Crue and Bruce Springsteen. Leave
Yeah.
those people out of my life forever. Do not want to hear their music. Don't want anything to do with them. Although I will tell you, and I've already told y'all, I'm going to the concert in August, the Motley Crue headlining show,
Yeah.
but I'm leaving after Tesla and Extreme Play.
You need
I
to stay
refuse
just
see
to
it.
give us a
No,
report
Absolutely not.
for the podcast,
I-
Chris. For the podcast.
No.
Can we
I
tag
could
out?
sit-
Can we
I
tag
could
out?
sit out.
Yeah.
I could sit out front of the venue and be like, "Why do y'all think Motley Crue sucks so much?" Tell me your answer.
I will say, in defiance of my wife, that probably won't talk to me the rest of the night right now. If they disappeared after the 80s, their legacy would be a lot stronger. Because
Yeah.
to me, it went downhill in the 90s and onward, and now it's really starting to
I'll go back
circle the
to
drain.
say 78, 79. After that, if they had just disappeared, would be fine.
Nah, I liked them up through Theater Pain. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. There's several bands I wouldn't want to come back out of that, but I was looking.
Yeah.
I'm more
But
of an
that
instru-
was
yeah.
I said that one because I knew how much
Yeah.
Jam would love
Yeah.
it. So
Well, give
No,
us a
really
real
wanna
one
make
then. Yeah, give us a real one. then.
mullets.
Mullets? Yeah, but they've come back, though.
They have.
I didn't say. You said what I wouldn't.
Okay,
Bring
yeah, I
back.
got you. Yeah.
Mullets.
When that craze came back, when my nephew was like probably 13 or 14, I remember saying, why? Why do you, of all the things to come back, that and a rat tail, why would that?
I was getting ready to say rat tails as well.
Yeah, and luckily it kind of disappeared pretty fast. I think it went through like 1 year. The kids were getting the mullet thing, and now it's kind of dying out again. But party in the front, what is it? Party in the back.
Business in
Business in the
front,
front,
party in
yeah.
back.
It just doesn't. It doesn't look good at all. Yeah, that's a big one. Good call on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that to me was just, ugh.
What'd you just do? You got real clear again, like you do every week.
I don't know. I'm sitting here holding my phone differently.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Here's one of mine. This I said 70s or 80s here right before this, but everything's mostly 80s. But this does go to the 70s and 80s. Plastic on furniture. When people would have plastic on their furniture because can't spill nothing on that good couch. Well, you're sitting on plastic, and I think that's totally gone away in the 90s, and it's sort of not a thing anymore. But why do people ever do that? I know it's like, but replace your furniture.
Because I think furniture was practical and you needed it, but then at the same time, furniture back then was well built. It was expensive. You know, if you bought that and you didn't want to mess it up, so
Yeah,
they
you're
were
probably
trying
right. It
any
was a
way to
little-
get
yeah.
the longest life out of it they could.
Yeah.
Because my grandparents had had an entire room, like a den that we never got to go in. We would open the door and sneak in and look at it like, oh my God, this is a den. And you'd see the plastic or the furniture that we never sat on.
Well,
but
that's funny, Chris, because that's something we just talked about July 4th over at our friend Eric and Amber's house. We were talking with Deanna, Eric's sister, and we were all talking about Eric and Amber moved into Eric's parents' house after they passed away, which is right down below where we live right now. And we were talking because I practically grew up in that house. I mean, he's my lifelong best friend. And just like our house, and Deanna brought that up, y'all had the same thing. They had the den where everybody hung out, but they had the living room, which nobody ever went in. And it was like it had that furniture in it and like a coffee table. And it's like, you never have people over in there. You never have it. We had that, and it was just like we had one of these swinging doors where you opened it like a accordion like door, and you'd open it and go in there. And actually, after a while, we put an old TV in there, and that was in the late 80s. I had my Nintendo in there. I just sit in there as like the playroom because we had a bright orange couch in there. And nobody ever went in there. And now it's our dining room. And Eric and Amber, when they moved into Eric's parents' house, they've turned that into their bedroom, their master bedroom. So it's like that's something that's gone away, which, probably a good thing too. Now, to play off of that, the living room. Like nobody lived in it. Maybe didn't that used to be called the parlor back in the day? Let's go into the parlor or something like that.
Oh no, we didn't have one.
Yeah.
We called it, if we didn't use it, it was called the den. We used our living room. My mom and dad were like, oh, we're not, the den.
The
but
den
it's
was
the same
what we
thing.
called
It's
ours,
just,
the den, and the living room was the actual
yeah,
room,
it's just different terminology,
yeah,
same thing.
but that's so much wasted space in houses back then.
Now you have open floor plans, and
I saw a thing the
walls
other
get
day
knocked down and stuff.
that's going away now. People are going back to, they don't like the open floor plan. They're going back to closed in kitchens and all that stuff, which I don't get, but that's the trend now. Go away from the open floor. I guess everything gets hot for a while, then goes back, and
yeah, but
maybe one day people will be throwing a living room or den in again. It's like,
Yeah.
All right, Jan, give us another one.
All right. Nuclear war with Russia fears.
We kind of still have that, but just
No,
I don't think we fear it
not
anymore.
like it was in the 80s.
Yeah, the nuclear threat. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, kids today will never know, that we just all lived on fear that one day you'll probably get zapped, like turn into dust. That was a real fear, Chris, did you fear that?
No, I honestly don't remember
Really?
any of that. Yep, I don't.
I
mean,
did. I mean,
I'm sure. I mean, I didn't. You talked about it in one podcast, I think, or we talked about it. Something. There was some movie that you watched, like an after-school special or something, or some reason I'm thinking you were talking about
Red Dawn?
The Day After Tomorrow was the movie. About,
yeah, something like
yeah.
that. You're like some movie, and it's just like it scared you to death. And I'm just like, I don't remember really ever having that fear of that. What was the thing we used to have to do in school? And like not the hurricane.
Oh,
drill,
tornado.
like tornado drill. That was more of a fear to me than the nuclear thing.
Yeah, which is funny because I've experienced 2 tornadoes in my lifetime. So, that didn't bother me that much as a kid. I didn't worry about it, but as I got older, I did. Still do. But, yeah, it's a good one. Didn't think about that. I hope that never comes back, but it's never really went away. We just don't care as much anymore. I think we've kind of realized.
Well, we've added more people into the pot.
Yeah,
It might do it.
And I think we've kind of realized the mutually assured destruction phase of it is sort of like, nobody really wants to do that. They just want to threaten it. Like, watch me say that. We're probably getting nuked right now. This is the last one. We're going out with a bang.
This is our last podcast ever.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. All right, Chris.
Okay, this one I'm going to say, and this is serious. Jan, do not get offended when I tell this, and it's not a joke, but I'm going to tell you. Newspapers. I'm glad we don't rely on newspapers anymore as a general rule of thumb, that I can go online and get my information quicker. I just thought the newspaper you had to flip through to get all your sports, all that, the lifestyle stuff. I just think I'm so glad we have advanced.
See,
past
I'm going to
that.
say it's not sticking out for my wife, who works in the newspaper industry, people, but I do miss the newspaper as far, especially Sunday newspapers and reading the comics and reading the news. I don't miss the sports section news part of it though, because you get it the next day and it's always so far behind the sports stuff was.
Well,
But,
and I think what I'm talking about is you wake up in the morning, they threw it on your driveway, you go pick it up, you go inside, and then you open it up and you read all the news that way. I just think I guess I've gotten and another one I have will go into that same kind of thought process. But I look at it now like if I need to know what's going on, I can Twitter, I can Google, I can do all these things. Because what made me think about this was today I'm walking into the convenience store before I go to work, and there's a USA Today on the little newsstand, and I'm like, that's still a thing. I'm like, to me, it's just the ease. I know, and sometimes having the news and stuff, whatever is easy at your fingertips, is not the greatest thing. But like for me, mainly with the newspaper, is always about the sports.
The more you talk about that, though, the more I'm starting to go against you on this, because it's starting to take me back into the early '90s when I was going to school for graphic arts and all that stuff, and I would go to school for in the morning, and then I would have like 45 minutes out of school before I had to go into work. And I was in Hickory, so I would usually go into the McDonald's and get like a Big Mac combo meal, whatever. Walking in, I would buy a Charlotte, for $1, and buy a Charlotte Observer or USA Today. Go in there and get my combo. Sit in the back in a booth and read my paper and just calmly relax before I had to go into work. I did that.
But you can do that now. You can still
on
do
your
that
phone,
now.
though. But there's the whole art of opening the paper and all that stuff up. It was kind of
Getting the black ink on your finger. People littering.
Sometimes I walk in
and
and somebody. They would have the papers in there anyway, and I grab it. I'd have to buy one that day.
Didn't have to buy one.
Yeah,
There's a whole episode of Seinfeld where they're going to the library, and they were talking about. Remember back in the day when you went to the library and there were the long sticks and they had the newspapers on the sticks back there, and they were like, that, and then Kramer's like, oh, you can't spend a quarter, that kind of thing, but like doing this, but. To me, it was just, yes, back then we didn't know any better. But now when I'm 2026 versus 1986, if we had the access to everything like we do, like sports, like we talked about, that was a big thing for me because, like you said, I had to wait, look at the box scores from last night's St. Louis Cardinal baseball game.
Yeah.
And it's like, you didn't have ESPN, you couldn't turn it on and have it instant. So you
I
kind
do
of had to
though.
wait. So.
When I watch an old movie or TV show and I see that father or that dad sit down in his chair and after dinner and opening the newspaper and sitting there reading it and relaxing and it's quiet and he's got that peace. I long for that peacefulness sometimes. Like just look when people used to like just relax and read the paper, and you don't have any of that anymore now.
Well, you can still get Sunday morning papers. You can still get the Hickory Daily Record. You can still get
love
those.
getting that for the coupons.
We don't rely on it. I'm glad we don't rely on it like we did.
I used to love to get the Sunday paper for the color comics.
Well, you still do that. My parents did that.
Really?
They got the big comics
and pull the coupons out. You used to cut all the coupons. Yeah. Was you a coupon clipper, Jan?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to start buying Sunday paper again to clip.
I used one this week, actually.
Oh, that's cool.
75 cents off.
There you go. Where at? On what?
Ingles.
Okay. What was it on? It's a surprise.
Tortilla wraps.
Okay, there you go. Okay, I got one here. This carried into the 90s before they went away, but I'm counting this as one of mine. You might can argue it was an 80s thing. It was a 50s through the 90s thing, but picture tube televisions, the old school televisions.
Oh. I don't
ever want to go back to that.
TVs.
Yeah, box TVs. I never want to go back to that. One of the greatest things ever was a flat screen television.
But
50-inch television I could pick up with my own hand and hang it on the wall versus the 27-inch television I bought back in the late 90s that I manhandled into my house and almost broke my back getting in the house. I mean,
what about the box TV that sat on your floor? That when you opened up the top, it was a record player too. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I've seen those. I don't. We've got a record player like that, but not a TV. But yeah, back in the day, your television was a piece of furniture, and it took up a large space in your living room.
And when that TV went out, you bought a smaller TV and sat on top of the cabinet TV on top of there.
My grandfather did that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I got box TVs as one of my list.
I don't think anybody is griping about going away from box televisions.
Well, I got something else real quick that goes along with that.
Okay.
I put non-remote TVs. Remember when we first TVs, you didn't have remotes. You had to get up and go change the channel.
Yep.
Or like I remember our first cable box from, I guess, Spectrum or whatever it was called. Who
Rich.
knows what it was
Yeah.
back in the day? Yeah, it was loaded.
Listen to Rich Kid, Jan.
It had channels on it like 2 through 13 or whatever listed
Then
on
you had
that.
to flip
But
the
then
V8,
there was a
UHF.
switch.
Yeah,
There was a switch on the side, so you moved it like for the next row of channels.
yeah,
And the next, so that's kind of, and the first remotes I can remember were wired.
yeah.
hooked to
Wired
the
remotes.
TV.
Yeah, the first VCR
Yeah.
we had a wired remote. Yeah, the first TV I remember as a kid we had was a 19-inch color television, but it didn't have a remote, and you had to get up and turn it. We only had like 5 channels anyway back then.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
yeah.
your parents didn't change it. You changed it.
Yeah,
Get up and turn
yeah.
the TV,
Get up and
Chris.
turn the TV. Yeah. Jan, you got one?
Having to record songs from the radio onto a cassette.
That's on mine too.
There you
Dang
go.
it.
Yeah.
Same thing. Yep.
I thought about cassettes and thought about recording stuff like that, but you know me, I was talking about my mixtapes. There's a little bit of nostalgia still in that, but yeah, it was a lot of work. You had to work for your music back then.
You
You
did.
appreciated it more.
The timing had to be perfect.
Yep, making a mixtape was awesome. Did you ever DJ in between the songs? So like, and now the
No.
next I did
No.
that.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So all right, well then, since you and Chris both had that one, throw another one in there.
Phones with cords and rotary phones.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved rotary phones though. That was
Yeah, you mess up one number, you got to start all
yeah,
over.
if you mess it up, you had to
Yeah.
go back again.
Yeah, I know. Not if you're in a hurry to call anybody or whatever, but still.
My aunt and uncle, Ralph and Debbie, were the first people I can remember in my life because it was such a big deal that had a push button phone.
Yeah.
And that when they first got married, that was in their house. They put a little trailer in next to my grandparents. And when I go down there, this was late 70s. I was, like 5, 6 years old. And I remember going there and seeing that phone going, wow, that's the coolest thing in the world. And just picking it up and pushing the buttons and thinking this is the greatest invention there ever was. And,
Especially
then
if you're
eventually
trying to call a radio station for free, like winning concert tickets.
Yeah. And then it took like probably 10 years for everybody to get away from the rotary. And, I think my grandfather still had that in his house. But,
What about, did you buy the extra long cord that was on there?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
they
we
all
did.
came with that little cord. Then you bought the 15-foot cord or whatever.
Let me tell you something that's annoying is, and luckily I found out the other week at work we're going away from this, but we still have office phones in our offices, and my phone, I hardly ever use it, but the cord on the headset tangles up so much, and I pull it out and twist it and flip the phone around and straighten it out every time, and then sometime, but within 3 or 4 days never using it, when I pick it up again, somehow it's all bunched back up again. And I hate that phone. I despise it. I hate calling on it. I don't like calling anyway on phones and talking. But I found out the other week we're going to internet phones, which we are now, but we're going to running it through our computer, where we'll have like a microphone on our computer, and it'll come in as a little box on our screen. We just click it and talk that way, which I'm really looking forward to that. That'll clear up a lot of space on my desk.
For all your honey bun emergencies.
Yes. So
Frosted honey buns.
yeah. All right, Jan, give us another one.
Well, this is one you were talking about the mullet, how it came back around. This is
Yeah.
one that has came back around probably several times, but I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay.
Those big puffy down vest like Marty McFly
Oh, yeah,
wore
the
in
big
Back to
yeah.
the Future.
They still around a little bit though. The owner of my old company wore one like year round. A
Well, they
vest,
make
the
puffer
puffy.
jackets now that are thinner. They aren't the big bulky ones
Yeah.
anymore.
And you look like a big old snowman wearing those things.
Yeah.
Vest overall, it's like I thought I wanted one of those last year, and then I'm glad I didn't get one because I'm kind of like,
What, a puffy vest?
Yeah, I don't get vests. I don't get them. What's the point? You still got your arm,
I like a good vest.
but
It's
your
a good
arms are gonna
vest.
freeze though. What's the point? Like, why get one of those for the winter? Does that really help you?
Why
or is
wear
it-
shorts? Why wear shorts? Your legs are just going to get sunburned or cold or whatever. Why wear
no,
shorts?
shorts.
They're short sleeves for your legs.
Yeah, but it's hot. You don't wear them in the winter, so you wear a vest in the winter when you're trying to
I
stay
do.
warm, but your arms are exposed.
Well, if you're out moving around and stuff, doing a lot of movement, sometimes you don't want to have all that.
But
heavy
that's
stuff
where
on
you
you,
got me
so-
because I don't like to move around. So, all right, Chris, you got one?
I do. I have standing in line for concerts or sports tickets. I hated standing in line for that. I like the ease of just buying them online now.
I'm going against you on that though, because I got the best seats of my life for concerts back in the day when you had to stand in line for them. It's impossible to get anything within 50 feet of a stage now. You just can't. It's
I
because
just don't like. I remember standing in line. One of the longest lines I ever stood in my life was for the very first Hornets season to get tickets to the inaugural season of the Hornets, and it was like we stood in line forever, and then we got up there, and I remember we went. The first game we ever went to was on April 1st, and we had. I guess I thought they were great seats back then, but now I look at it, I'm like, yeah, these seats weren't so good. I mean.
yeah.
They were up in the upper section and things, and I was just excited to be there. But I like when you can go on to the
I
to
do
the
like
side
picking
and
your
just
seats.
pick your seat.
I do
Pick
like
it when you're
that.
done.
I do like that, but they've got to figure a better way out for that though, because you're hosed.
Well,
You know,
you get hosed now because of scalpers, but then you got hosed back then because of scalpers too. It
Yeah,
wasn't any
yeah.
different. Just not on as quick a scale as you do now.
But if you wanted to get close to see your band back then, and if you worked hard at it, you could do it. And you don't have a chance now unless you work hard at spending $1,000 for a ticket off a
Oh yeah,
scalper.
I'm not saying prices. I mean, I wish we had the prices of the '80s,
Yeah.
but I don't want to stand in line for the tickets anymore.
All right, you got another one, Chris?
I do, and this will be the last one that I've got. It
Okay.
kind of went along with the first that we said in Jan's Gnarly News about Starfighter. I am so glad we don't rely on the graphics that we had in the movies back in the '80s.
Yeah.
The CGI and all that stuff was so terrible, and we've come so far along. And I know it's technology and it's 30, 40 years different, but those movies, you look at them now that we watched when we were kids, and you're like, oh, this is
You mean tell you
Not good.
a big one that's like
Not
that?
good.
That even though it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Star Wars.
No, because he's cleaned up the Star Wars. He's done a great job. That's why I don't gripe about the special editions of the Star Wars, because he went in and he had a vision, and he only had so much technology to make that vision come true back in the day. But when the technology came around, he went and fixed it to his vision, and I respect that. I don't gripe about the special edition stuff. But go back and watch Ghostbusters. That
Yeah.
movie, when it was originally shown to test audiences, didn't even have all the effects finished yet. They pushed that thing. I mean, they were wrapping it up weeks before it hit the theaters, and there's a lot of bad effects in it. It doesn't bother me because that movie's not about the effects to me. It's about the story and the actors. But there's some bad graphics in that movie. The all right, who brought the dog? The the monster like attack demon or whatever that is. It looks very bad. There's a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that just doesn't hold up as far as graphics
Yeah.
goes.
But yeah, that to me is like I'm so glad we have, and then we're still not perfected it, but it's so much better now. That I don't miss those things from the '80s.
Jan, you got any more?
I've got several.
Okay, good. Let's hear them, but
All right.
save the big
Okay.
one. Okay.
Having to go get film developed.
Yeah.
Had to
Oh,
send it
yeah.
off. It took 2 weeks for it to come back.
You know
What's the
what,
name of
though?
that? Was it called Clark?
What?
That you used to drop your film in the package and mail it in, and they send your pictures back to you. Was that called Clark?
I don't know. I would take mine to when I worked at Rose's and drop them in our
I took
thing
mine to
there.
Roses. Yeah.
I will say though, we talked about this, Jan, a long time ago. Especially all three of us. Of course, you were in the. This is Chris. Even though we're the same age, there's a generational gap here when it comes to graphic arts and stuff. Because when Jan and I went to school for graphic art, we had to do our photography classes with a fully manual Pentax K1000 camera, and you had to develop your own for the black and white, or send it for the color to get them done. But you had 24 shots on that roll of film, and you better make them count. Because that film wasn't cheap, and then you get them developed, and it was like you can't just like with a cell phone now snap 80 pictures and pick the 2 best out of it. You had to make your pictures count. That's sort of
But that was awesome though. I think. I mean, I still
Yeah.
like to see go to art shows and people have taken pictures with the film, the 35 millimeter film, more than digital.
yeah.
And and I just think it's got a great look to
But
it.
I'm with Jano on that. The fact that you had to wait You wait like a week till you get it back, and then hope they turned out good. That was
Hope you didn't have your finger in the
yeah.
picture.
You're like, dadgum, man. Grandma, last picture, of Grandma, my thumb's on the picture. Waiting for that's a good one. I never thought about that. That's a good one. What else?
Having to use a typewriter.
Yeah,
I hated
that.
that.
Was terrible.
Hated it.
because what's really crazy is I learned on a manual typewriter. My mom and dad had two of them. They both had their own manual typewriter. And I used to write short stories as a kid, and I would type them out on the typewriter. And I've got some copies of them somewhere, and you can see so many spots where I whited it out. And then when we got to the electric ones, that you could go back and correct your mistake, with the thing. But still, that was a lot of work. You had to. I couldn't type anywhere near as fast as I do now if I was on a regular typewriter. I had to slow down to stop the mistakes. And I don't miss that. I can now just jump back, hit backspace, fix it, go on. Now about fix it yourself anyway. The end, just hit spell check, be done with it. But that's a good one. Although we need to I need to find my old typewriter up at Mom and Dad's, bring it down here and put it up somewhere.
Yep.
So,
from the 80s.
Yep. You got your last big one?
No, I've got
Okay.
several more.
Well, good. Keep them coming.
Do you remember having to boot up your computer with a floppy disk?
Yeah.
Ah, so glad we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. That was the old school. Kids now don't even know what a floppy disk is, much less booting one.
Station wagons.
I miss station wagons.
Hey,
Sorry.
those are awesome.
Station wagons were cool.
You
man.
didn't have to drive one to school.
I kind of did. My dad, before I got my car, we had a station wagon and a Pontiac Parisienne. And when Mom was in a Pontiac, I had to drive the Oldsmobile station wagon around. Yeah, I
Remember
did.
they had the backwards seat. That was cool too.
Yeah, that was the fancy ones. Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, come on, family truckster. Come on, man.
Yep.
No.
Yeah,
I had to
mean,
drive
that's
one
good
too
stuff.
many times.
I think if you had if we had with the girls now, I mean, we got a Highlander so we could fit everybody in. That if we had old school family truckster with the girls in the back, that would have been so cool. So,
What about in the 80s when we actually had to send messages? When we actually had to send messages to people through the mail.
yeah,
You actually
Those were
had
called letters, Jan.
Yeah.
Me and my friend Liza, when every summer
Postcards.
she would go up to New York to stay with her grandparents during the summer, and we would write letters to each other. And I send a letter to her, then 8-9 days later I get one back in the mail. It's like, oh, I got your letter. Here's what I'm doing up here, and you read that. There's a good nostalgia in that, but I'm glad,
Well, we used to do the same thing, but like you would use postcards and send those to each other.
Yeah.
That was like the text messages because they were so short. You just like quick.
Yeah. I do love the fact that, I don't know if it's better for us as a society now, but I do love the fact that any point in the day, both of you, I was going to say just Jan, but both, and all three of us have a messenger thread on Facebook together. How it just any point in the day something pops in my mind, I could just message Jan and be like, here, bam. And you're constantly sending me stuff, Chris, and we're back and forth. And it's like, you just, but.
Or what if you had to wait 2 weeks for me to receive that?
Yeah. Can you imagine doing a radio show like this back then where we couldn't plan anything ahead or, it's like, yeah. I mean, the technology wasn't there to do this, but the fact that we couldn't plot anything except write letters or call on the phone and hope it's not long distance. That was one thing I was going to bring up too, is long distance telephone. The fact that we can call worldwide now, even using a messenger on a computer, and get a great crystal clear thing and it not cost us anything. Why is phones, if you think about it, they've kind of gotten, even home phones, 'cause I'm dealing with one with my father-in-law right now, a new home phone for him. It costs as much or more now than it did back then. And it's like, wow, technology's caught up. Why?
Because
Why is a home
less
phone
people
not
using them, I
$20 a
guess.
month? It should, it shouldn't be anything now. So, yeah.
Just less people using the technology, so they gotta
Yeah.
still cover those salaries and all that good junk.
Yep.
These last few are more kind of girly things.
Yeah.
But neon leg warmers.
Yeah, that was a cool look back then, but you look at it now, it wasn't cool.
Oh, they would be terrible if somebody was walking around with those nowadays. Jelly shoes.
Well, they just turned into Crocs. That's all that.
No.
Jelly shoes became
Those
Crocs.
jelly shoes from the 80s were very, very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I remember you saying you.
Oh,
some.
blisters on the back of your feet. Oh,
Yeah.
they were terrible. I'm so glad those stayed in the 80s. That kind, anyway.
Yeah.
Valley girls.
You don't like the.
They needed to stay in the 80s.
Just gag me with a spoon.
Exactly. Take a chill pill.
with their neon leg warmers on.
Like, totally.
Yeah.
And teased up hair and shoulder pads.
So tubular.
Yeah. And my last one, smoking in public or restaurants or things like that.
Smoking, okay. Well, it's funny you say that because I asked Rodney and Todd, and hey, let's see what podcast listener Rodney Morris had to say.
One thing that I would definitely not bring back from the 80s would be smoking sections in restaurants. Now, I have no problems with people smoking. That's not the issue. My dad smoked the entire time I lived at home, so I was used to it. But now as an adult, I can't stand to smell cigarette smoke. So that would definitely be a turnoff for me if I walked into a restaurant and you smelled smoke. If you remember, even if the restaurant had separate smoking and non-smoking sections, it didn't matter where you sat in the restaurant, you still smelled smoke. So you just couldn't get away from it. In fact, I remember going to the Western Sizzlin' after church, and you would walk into the door there on the side and walk around the perimeter of the front part of the restaurant, which was the non-smoking section. The smoking section was in the back. You still smelled smoke up there in the non-smoking section. It was still there. The only thing that separated the two sections was the salad bar. So I don't know that I would really want to eat from that salad bar, knowing that it was the filter that filtered out all the smoke. But then again, maybe it didn't, because you still smelled the smoke when you walked in.
Yeah, I got to agree with Rodney on that. Smoking in public overall, I think. I'm glad restaurants especially. Chris, are you fond of those days?
I will push back on that. I love smoking sections in restaurants.
Why?
Smoking sections in restaurants, when you worked as a server in the restaurant in a smoking section, those people tipped better.
Really?
Those people were friendlier. Those people actually, they actually were, I don't know, it didn't bother me. And restaurants took and ventilated those out, like maybe not the little local places, but the bigger restaurants. They ventilated and pulled that smoke out of there because they had special ventilation in those rooms.
I'm with Rodney because I remember how you can be in the non-smoking and you can still smell that smoke. You know.
Well, as a server working in that industry, and I went in, I'm like, "What section am I in?" They're like, "You're in the smoking." I said, "Thank God," because it was better money, better people. They just had more fun. They drank more. They just really you had a better time with those people.
You saying reprobate spent more money? Is that what you're saying?
I did. I am.
Were you ever a smoker, Chris?
Yes, I did smoke.
Did you like that? Then you get in there and like, oh, I'm at home.
I did. I could get secondhand smoke when I was working. You just suck it up in there. Oh, yeah. But you know, like the thing too is like, I agree with maybe not smoking out. My problem with smokers, and has always been my problem with smokers, I was not one of these people that had this problem, is when you finish the cigarette, we talked about this at work today, when you finish your cigarette, throw it in the butt can or whatever they've got there. Don't just throw it on the ground and walk off. That's what irritates me.
Yeah.
That's the name of my next band. Butt can.
What irritates me?
Butt can. Irritate is a good band name too. Janet irritates me. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we got away from smoking so much now that I just can't. Somebody will walk by me that has smoked maybe 10 minutes before that, and I just want to gag on the smell just from the. And I apologize to any smokers that like our show, but I've been around.
I got your back, smokers.
I've been around too much cigarettes over the last 20, 30 years. It's just like, enough of that. I just don't know. I know it's very addictive, trust me. But that's the thing. I'll be glad when it's totally gone.
It'll never be totally gone.
It will eventually because they're I mean, like in England, you can't purchase any if anybody under the age of like 50 can't purchase them anymore.
Well, if we're taking our lead from England, we're screwed. But anyway, we just had our birthday here, with America, so suck it, England.
I agree with Rodney though. Like the restaurants, just
no. I wish it was back. Honestly, I honestly do. And I don't smoke, but anyway. But you know what though? Talking about smoking real quick, and I know we're not on this, but I was in line today at the same convenience store, and a pack of Newport menthols the guy bought ahead of me.
What, $7-8?
Over $10.
Wow.
Golly.
With taxes, it's like $10.50 with taxes. I'm like, good Lord.
That's why you smoke that cheap,
Yeah,
that
you
cheap
smoke
dirt
the cheap
tobacco,
ones.
that weird
Yeah.
generic name you never heard of, like Big Chief Tobacco. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I got it.
It's like $3
Yeah.
a pack. Yeah.
They're trying to price people out of it, but it's not going to do it. People are not. I mean,
I will
they're
say
not going to
though,
price them out.
to flip a little positive on maybe 10% your way. And I think I told Jan about this not that long ago. I do miss the smoking more in public for the fact that I'd be at work back in the day, sitting in my office at Piedmont, and I'd be like, man, I wish I could just fire up a cigar right now. I think it would have passed the day better if I could just fire up a backwoods or something like that and sit there and smoked it at my desk. It probably would have kept some cravings from eating, candy bar or something. But that's, listen, my boss used to chain smoke constantly, and then they at work, and then they outlawed it at work. When I started vending, we sold cigarettes in vending machines, which is
I remember the cigarette vending machines.
yeah, it's so wild to think about that now. That's it's not that long ago that you could still go out and just pull a button and get a pack of cigarettes out of a vending machine.
Well, certain bars still have it.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you're on the short end on that one, Chris. If you polled the American public, most people would be glad that there's no more smoking and non-smoking. But
If you know me, I don't always go with the flow.
Yeah, I'll look it up for next week, see what year they did away with all smoking in restaurants. Because I do remember, you can remember a million times smoking or non-smoking and non-smoking. All right, let's ask Todd Spiegel. Todd, what did you want to leave back in the 80s?
These are the things I would not bring back from the 80s. Parachute pants, smoking in public places, and using paper maps for directions.
Oh, hey there. Yep, there's another one Chris, against the smoking in public. You're down. You're
all nerds, so be quiet.
You're 4-1 against this week.
Yeah, that's right. I'm fine. I don't care.
The parachute.
You should just leave the country.
The parachute pants. Chris and I talked about this earlier today. They were goofy, and I never had a pair, but you know what?
I love parachute
I would probably
pants.
wear a pair. If I could find, if they were gonna come back, I'd probably get a pair to wear. I like baggy pants and stuff.
Yeah, my mom and dad bought me a pair, but they were cheap. They weren't like super fancy, or they probably bought from the flea market for all I know. But they were just cool, I thought.
Don't
I
get
liked
parachute pants though confused with the different hammer pants, the MC hammer pants.
Yeah,
That's
those
different.
are not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same thing, people. So that was a 90s thing. Yeah, they had the parachute pants had like the zipper pockets and all stuff on them too, right?
Remember in
and they were
elementary
made out of parachute material.
Remember in elementary school when we got to play with the parachute?
Oh, that was the greatest thing.
Oh,
ever.
that was so fun.
You
That
wasn't
was
at
so
that.
much
Chris,
fun.
they still have that too. I was at where were we at? No, I saw a video from Bannock Elementary School where I went, and the seniors. The cool thing they do now, which I wish we did back then, was seniors now from like Fred T. Ford High School. They'll have a day where they let the seniors all go back to their elementary school and tour it, and all the
And walk the halls.
walk the halls of their elementary school, and the kids all cheer for them and all that stuff. And they posted a video this year where they went back to Bannock and they pulled the parachute out in the gym and were doing it. And I was looking, I swear I think it's the same parachute we had back in the 70s and early 80s at Bannock when I was there. It was so cool to see, and to know that it's still there was very cool.
Yeah,
I wonder
that
if
was
you
a
can
cool
buy
thing.
those. Get one down here and the girls play with it. I'd totally
I would
get
play
one.
with
I
it.
don't think your basement's big enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Miniature parachute.
Yeah, I'm going to research those tonight on Amazon. Parachutes.
Get some pants and do it with the pants.
Yeah, my uncle DB Cooper, I think he's got one stashed away somewhere. I'll ask him.
Oh yeah, DB's got
Yeah,
one for
yeah,
sure.
So.
Sort of what Todd hated about parachute pants. Did he get like his leg hair caught in the zippers or something? I don't know why,
but Todd,
why he's so anti.
Todd, respond to this in the messages.
I bet you if Geddy Lee wore some parachute pants, he'd be all in.
I think Geddy Lee did. I remember some of the styles Rush did in the 80s. There were some stuff they regret. Oh, we forgot one last thing before we sign off right here. Here we go. There's a segment we should have done earlier, but let's do it in here at the end.
It's time for errors and corrections. 'Cause Greg
Chris.
screwed up again.
Greg didn't screw up.
Good
Chris
Lord.
did.
Good gracious, why y'all yell at me?
So, errors and corrections from our podcast the other week. Chris was talking about, Chris, you remember this?
I do remember.
All right. Go ahead and tell us.
We were talking about movies, and I don't remember how that movie came up, but I said that Adam Sandler, when we were talking about video games in the movies, it was Click, but it was not Click. It's called Pixel.
Pixels.
Is it Pixels or Pixel?
It's
Pixels. Yeah.
Pixels.
And I was like, just in the conversation, and nobody caught it. I just said, yeah, Adam Sandler in the movie Click, blah, blah, blah. And then it was like, I was listening to the podcast. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. That's Pixels.
So the funny thing about that is why I went ahead and threw us some errors and corrections is because that movie played probably a big part in why Jan and I sort of named this place the Pixel Underground down here, because we watched that movie down here right as we were fixing up the basement, and the girls loved it. They watched it with us, and all the 80s stuff like that, and Pixels just sort of stuck with us. So that movie inspired the Pixel Underground, and later the Pixel People Pod. So
it was in the cartoon episode. We were talking about the cartoon.
Dare I say the word that shall not be spoken? Synergy. It all comes full circle. So anyway, that'll do it for this week. That was a long one. We got some cool stuff, but
and we didn't really have it planned either. So it was just kind of off the cuff
last minute pod idea. But everyone, post in the comments what you would prefer stays away. There's a lot more we could probably throw out there, but this was a good run. I agree with most everything except for the smoking, Chris. Sorry, you're wrong. So go out and smoke you a cigarette right now, Chris. Have your whole
I don't think I can. Yep.
So anyway, okay, back to that.
Although if we did have a cigar right now, I would smoke. I would smoke.
Jen has severe.
So don't you listen? You can't say I'm against smoking, but smoke cigars and not cigarettes. I mean, they're all tobacco.
But we're not.
Calm it down.
We're not walking in the middle of Texas Roadhouse and firing up a big fat stogie.
That would be cool.
It is funny though, because Jen and I both have asthma, but hers was so bad as a kid, like they had to put a special room in the house for her bad asthma, and it's like when we started dating, I had a cigar and we fired it up and smoked it. And I was like, well, you come a long way from the little girl who couldn't breathe to fire up that cigar. But
she's the bubble girl.
Yeah. All right. Well, that'll do it for this week, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the listens on the last 3 or 4 episodes. We've really been cranking the listens out. Well done. Keep up the good work. And thanks for the positive remarks on the Quick Bite episode we put out there. Glad to do it. There'll be more of those too. So anyway, Chris, got any last words?
I do. Smoke them if you got them.
Hey, Todd, you got anything to add?
If you've tried the rest, now try the best. The Pixel People Pod.
All right, Jan.
Shine on.
The Pixel People Pod. Zap inside. Rewind the future fraud. The Pixel People Pod.
Thank you for coming to our podcast.